Hey, what is going on, guys? DK. Back at you with another video here to bring the 6-game NBA preseason slate on Wednesday. Going to recap probably the most wild preseason slate I've ever been a part of in a couple minutes here. But if you guys are new to the channel, welcome. My name is DK. I make daily videos and live stream for NBA, NFL slates on Draftkings. If you're unable to watch these YouTube videos, I also upload an Apple Podcast. Link down below. It's called the DKDFS Show. And if you're interested in signing up for premium content, offer that on patreon.com. NBA package, we're going over every single NBA preseason slate, and then NFL package includes every single show on slate as well as the main slate. Esports package includes Call of Duty and CSGO, and a gold package is a combination of everything. So here are a couple of winners from last night that I wasn't able to show in the video because I already uploaded it, but here was, let's see, so $33 into $625 and $39 into $255 in the late night slate. Here was a 200x of the money in his first night. Dustin, congrats. A couple more from the Discord. That was about $7,000 in profit there. We had a takedown, or second place on FanDuel, $4,000. And one more, what is that? I can't even see. $750. So few other big winners from last night, and then one other one to go over today. We had some big ones too. I'll maybe post some more later, but here was one big winner from today's slate: $6 into $450. So those are all the big winners. Again, congrats to everyone the last couple of days. And then, we went over the winners. So I do want to thank the sponsor of today's show, PrizePicks. And if you guys are not familiar with PrizePicks for NBA, two different ways you can play. The first way is taking over/under in fantasy points, and the second way is taking over/under on like points, assists, rebounds, three-pointers made. Now, the NBA preseason stuff is not up yet, but it'll be up tomorrow, probably early tomorrow. And I gave 4 picks out on Twitter, so make sure to follow me on Twitter. I'm looking to, if there's a few that I like, I'll tweet them out. And the 4 that I gave out today were the under on Knox, under on Brogdon, under on Toppin, and under on O'Shea Brissett. Every single one hit. Now, these lines didn't make a ton of sense, right? Kevin Knox projected for 22 fantasy points when the Knicks run their starters a lot in the preseason, and Knox isn't even in the regular rotation. So, like, that line made no sense. Historically, Rick Carlisle, really spreads out the minutes in the first preseason game, and that's what he did. So guys like Brogdon and O'Shea Brissett didn't play a ton. And then Obi Toppin projected for almost 25 fantasy points, which is too much because, again, the starters get a lot of run for the Knicks in the preseason. So every single one hit. Congrats, you guys, if you took those. And, so that's PrizePicks. Again, be on the lookout on Twitter for my picks tomorrow. All right, so I guess now what we can do is we can talk about this slate tonight, okay? So first, let's go over my lineup. All right, so my lineup in low-stakes tournaments hit. Lineup in high-stakes tournaments just missed. But all right, I'm going to try to say this without laughing. Let's start with the beginning, okay? Let's start with a couple things that I got to tilt about first. As you guys know, get tilting out of the way. A minute or two here for NBA DFS. Last preseason slate had NAW, 3 fouls in like 5 minutes. Had Trae Young injured. Still ended up cashing everything. All right, so let's talk about today. First, let's start with the Bucks. Coach Budenholzer. Coach Mike Budenholzer. One of my favorite coaches in the league. Absolutely love him. First, we don't get the starting lineup until like 15 minutes before lock, while every other team gives the starters like an hour before lock. Number 2, they're resting all their main guys. You would think like the veterans barely going to play maybe one shift in the first quarter, or just not play at all. What does Coach Budenholzer do? He plays 50-year-old George Hill like 3 shifts. George Hill got significant minutes in a meaningless preseason game when they're resting every other like veterans. So there's number 1, tilted because I had a low own Tremont Waters. I was obviously didn't think George Hill would play much at all. So thought Waters would get more run. He really didn't get much run in the first half. He only got like 5 minutes, but was productive when he was out there. Second thing to tilt about here, Sengun. This is my boy. Low owned, 28%. 5 fouls in 9 minutes. Okay, let me repeat that. 5 fouls in 9 minutes. Now, I avoided Daniel Gafford. I was a little bit worried about it, but he is always in foul trouble. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to avoid Gafford. And sure enough, Gafford did get in foul trouble, but not as quickly as Sengun. 5 fouls in 9 minutes. Now, he had 17 fantasy points in 9 minutes. He checked back in for the last 2 minutes of the game. He played like 12 minutes total and had 22.5 fantasy points. Imagine if he doesn't pick up 5 fouls in 9 minutes. Probably would have gotten at least another 7-8 minutes and would have smashed. Again, he crushed in such limited minutes, and he just gets random foul trouble. So that's number 2. Number 3. The Bucks-Grizzlies game. Okay, so sprinkler system randomly goes off, sets off the fire alarm in the stadium. So everyone has to evacuate. Okay, so right now, I'm sitting on the money line in GPPs, and now I got to sweat this game because I have 3 guys that are going to play the fourth quarter. Nwora, Thanasis, and Tacoma Tremont Waters. So I'm just sweating, hoping this game is going to finish. So they make us wait like an hour. And let me just, okay. You guys, I'm going to try to say this without laughing. You will not believe this is a real tweet. Okay? This is a tweet from one of the beat writers. Mike Butenholzer and a Bucks assistant are carrying a table over to the Bucks bus. They are apparently going to set up a picnic as they await the status of the game. Okay? This is a real tweet. They are setting up a picnic. So, I'm watching this game, and I gotta sweat if this game's gonna be played. And what I'm watching is all these players literally sitting at a picnic table eating barbecue. I see Brooke Lopez just chilling on the bus. So I wait like an hour and a half sweating this. And finally they call it. They cancel the game. But the positive here is DraftKings support. Really nice. They are refunding all your entries if you did not profit. So like if you put $100 in and only profited or like only won $5, you're getting $95 in credit back basically. So really, really nice of DraftKings, but that was the most wild sweat I think I've ever had. Trying to sweat this game to see if it's going to be played. I'm watching these players eating setting up a picnic, eating barbecue. Oh man, I don't even know what else to say about that, but that was just one of the most wild sweats I've ever had. So again, ended up cashing low stakes stuff, just missing high stakes, but thankfully will be refunded. Now, if this game would have been played, if the fourth quarter would have been played, definitely would have cashed. Waters, Nwora, Thanasis, all would have got run there in the fourth quarter. So, going over the rest of my lineup. So, GOBERT, you guys know my feelings in love him. He smashed in limited time. Kevin Porter Jr. was massive, 42 fancy points. Nwora was really good. We know this guy's just going to shoot the ball a ton when he's out there. Randall, because I was the most confident in the Knicks starters' minutes. Vucevic was all right. Didn't shoot the ball the best. The Bulls starters, if you guys go look at the stats, they had like 100 combined steals and blocks. Like, just go look at the starter stats. They like all had like 5 blocks and 5 steals each. Absolutely insane. Again, Tremont Waters would have played a lot in that fourth quarter. Probably a mistake here for me. I was debating Gafford and Dinwiddie versus Vooch and Waters. I ended up rolling the dice here, but much safer option would have been Gafford and Dinwiddie. And then Thanasis was not great, but he would have played a decent amount there in the fourth quarter, and obviously he was the min price. And then Sengun, who lost a ton of time because of foul trouble. So, all right, that's it, guys. That's it for the recap. A little bit of tilting, talking about a picnic. I can't believe I'm talking about a picnic in NBA daily fantasy sports. But I guess it's picnic season, boys. All right, so that is it for the look back. Now let's talk about this 6-game slate. There's like a little gnat flying around here. Jeez. I don't know what's going on. All right, so first game is Spurs versus the Pistons. So what I want to do is take a look at the minutes for the Spurs in their last preseason game. So minutes pretty spread out. A couple of the main guys saw over 20 minutes. Keldon Johnson played 22. Pirtle played 17. Murray 21. Derek White 21. A couple guys on the bench. Rookie Primo played 18. You had Eubanks was solid in 15 minutes. We know he's a pretty decent point per minute guy. Jock Landale, if you guys played Olympic DFS, he was a guy that we use a lot from Australia. He was pretty solid in limited minutes too. So let's take a look at players and the prices. No one's super expensive for the Spurs, which is nice. I think my preferred option would probably be the 3 main guys, so the 2 guards and Pirtle, Murray, White, Jakob Pirtle. Murray White should lead this offense, and Pirtle has a pretty high floor. Good rebounder, can block some shots as well. So I like the main 3 guys here from the Spurs. Scrolling down a little bit more. So a couple of options I think are viable. Keldon Johnson, again, saw some decent minutes too, right? He started and played 22 minutes. I think he's viable for value. And then a couple of these backup bigs, Jock Landale and Drew Eubanks, both decent point per minute guys, and both are pretty cheap, 4.8K and 4.4K respectively. I think they are both in play. And then Primo at the flat min, again, they gave him about 18 minutes. A little bit reliant on the scoring, but I think he's worth a look, again, at min price. All right, moving on to Detroit. So we've yet to see Detroit. There are some injuries here. Cade Cunningham out, Killian Hayes questionable, Frank Jackson out, Livers out, Chris Smith out. So let's take a look at Pistons and their minutes. This was in the first preseason game last year. So starters got like low 20s minutes. Killian Hayes 21, Mason Plumlee 21, Blake 22, Jeremy Grant 22. So I think we can expect the same unless we hear otherwise, like low 20s minutes of some of these guys. So Isaiah Stewart, Jeremy Grant at 7.6 and 7.3K respectively. Don't love the prices on either of them. It's going to be interesting to see who they start at the point guard position with Cade and Killian Hayes possibly out. Like, does a guy like Saben Lee move in the starting lineup? Do they start Corey Joseph? Like, whoever starts the point guard, if Killian Hayes is out, I think is some solid value here for the Pistons. Kelly Olynyk, veteran, but he's a really, really good point per minute guy. If he starts and gets around 20 minutes, I think he's firmly in play. And then another guy I want to mention, a Summer League GOAT, LUKA GARZA, was phenomenal when given minutes in the Summer League. Great point per minute guy. This guy's very skilled in the offensive end. So do have a little bit interested in him at 5.2K. So Pistons, we'll see what they do with the starting lineup. But yeah, some younger guys, and then whoever ends up starting at the point guard, I have some interest in. And moving on to Cleveland. So Cleveland, that was a beatdown. That was tough to watch. They just got absolutely destroyed. It's a back-to-back. Going over some minutes, Garland played the most, 28 minutes. He wasn't great in that time. You had the bigs, Jarrett Allen, Evan Mobley, pushed for 20 minutes, 22 and 23 minutes respectively. Ricky Rubio was solid off the bench in 20 minutes, and then they kind of spread out the minutes for everyone else. So taking a look at players and the prices, Sexton too pricey for me. Jarrett Allen at 7K is fine, but I think I would rather go to Mobley. So Mobley at 5.3K, I do think makes a pretty decent play here. Did play 22 minutes. Rookie, they're going to want to give him the ball. So like Mobley there for value. And then Darius Garland, I think is pretty solid in the mid-range too. He played 28 minutes, the most of anyone on Cleveland tonight. So I think those two are the guys I look to on the Cleveland side. Moving on to Atlanta. So some injuries to go over here. Trae Young doubtful, Capella out, Bogdanovich out. Hunter looks like he'll be good to go. Okongwu out as well. So last game for the Hawks. Starters got low 20s minutes. You had Collins play 22, Reddish played 22, Bogdanovich 23, and then Trae Young unfortunately got injured, only playing 18 minutes. So I would think probably DeLon Wright moves in the starting lineup. Also, I would think they want to give some of these younger guys a little bit more run. Maybe a guy like Jalen Johnson, rookie. So I did see a quote, I think like a few days ago, where the Hawks said they wanted to play more of the younger guys in the second game. I couldn't find that. I was looking for that on Twitter, but we probably should get clarity on this again going into tomorrow. If the starters, the main guys, are going to play some decent minutes, then I think John Collins is viable without Trae Young. He'll probably be the top option on offense. Again, I mentioned DeLon Wright. He is a 6.2K. If he picks up the start, I think he's a decent play in the mid-range. Obviously, a lot of usage to go around there with Trae Young most likely out. And then possibly some of these younger guys, maybe like a Jalen Johnson, right? Didn't play a ton in the first game, but if they do want to play the young guys more, he would probably be a guy that would get a good amount of minutes. So yeah, monitor the news here with Atlanta. Let's move on to Orlando and the Pelicans. All right, so the Orlando Magic starters, low 20s minutes. Terrence Ross 24, Franz 20, Wendell Carter Jr. 21, Gary Harris 21, Jalen Suggs 21 minutes. This is just a weird roster. They have a lot of guards. I just don't know what to make of it. They're not going to be great this year. So Kiki, Fultz, MCW out. Started rookie Jalen Suggs at 6'5". He was all right in 21 minutes, getting 9.4 boards, 3 assists. He is a stat sheet stuffer. That's what's, that's the positive of Suggs. If we're going to get 20 to 25 minutes, I think he's a pretty fair play. The two bigs I feel pretty comfortable with, and Wendell Carter Jr. and Mo Bamba. Carter Jr., again, good point per minute guy. And same with Mo Bamba. Mo Bamba was really good in 22 minutes, 13 points, 10 boards, 1 assist. He's a great shot blocker, too. So both bigs I like for the Magic. Again, I think Suggs is fine. And then the cheaper guards. So Cole Anthony had a decent game off the bench. And where is RJ Hampton, 4.6K? Again, Hampton, I like that price on him. He played 22 minutes, went for 7, 6, and 3. So really looking to the guards and the bigs here for the Magic. Moving on to the Pelicans. It's a Pelicans first preseason game. Some starters played over 20 minutes. A couple played less than that. Kind of tilts about this. The Pelicans are starting Garrett Temple over the GOAT. How is Garrett Temple even in the league? And you're starting him over GOAT NAW? That makes not a whole lot of sense. But yeah, Zion Williamson out. Jonas Valanciunas missed the last game, but he is considered probable. He's a really good point per minute guy. If we can expect starters to push for 20-plus minutes again, I do like JV a good amount. Brandon Ingram didn't have the best game, but he did play 23 minutes. So both, kind of the main guys here for the Pelicans, and Ingram and Valanciunas I like. Again, NAW came off the bench, but absolutely smashed. And he got in severe foul trouble in the first half. He lost minutes. So imagine if NAW didn't get in foul trouble. He put up 22 points. Let's go over to stats. 22 points, 3 assists, 2 boards. Then he had like a block and steal in 21 minutes. Probably would have played about 25 plus if he would have stayed out of foul trouble. So, yeah. I mean, NAW's been the preseason GOAT for me the last couple of years. I'll continue to ride him. I like him a good amount here. Again, whether he starts or comes on the bench, he's just going to be a high-usage guy when he's out there. Going over some other values. So rookies, Trey Murphy and Herb Jones, both are solid in their run. 5.3 for Trey Murphy, 4.5 for Trey Jones. Or not Trey Jones, sorry. Herbert Jones. But yeah, Trey Murphy played 30 minutes, 21 and 6. So Herb Jones only played 19 minutes. Probably would give the edge to Trey Murphy over Jones. So I think Trey Murphy's a pretty solid value play there at 5.3K. All right, moving on to Utah and Dallas. Utah rested a lot of their guys last preseason game. Mitchell Conley played a little bit, and then Whiteside started for Gobert. Elijah Hughes also started. So it looks like Rudy Gobert will be back. Now at 8.2K, I'm probably, or 8.8K, I'm probably going to pass there. Mitchell versus Conley, I think Mitchell will be the guard I would look to. He did play a little bit more, and obviously he's way younger. So if I'm going to take a chance on one of these Utah guards, it would be Donovan Mitchell. And then Whiteside, if Gobert's out again, then I do like Whiteside a good amount. If Gobert's in, Whiteside more of just a tournament-only play. But he's going to be a really good point per minute guy when he's out there. That we know. Whiteside's a great DFS player. But that's probably it. I don't think I have interest in much else there for Utah. Moving on to Dallas. So Dallas is a new coach, so no point really in going over stats from last year. But what we know is LUKA, THJ, Bullock, Kleber, and KP are projected to start. Powell going to rest. KP shifts to center. And then we have news that most likely LUKA and KP will only play the first half. So as far as LUKA and Kristaps Porzingis go, I'm going to pass. If they're only going to get first half, I think there's better plays in the slate. Now looking at the other options here for Dallas, kind of tough because LUKA and Kristaps are going to dominate the usage in the first half. So don't know if I really have any interest in the starters. I think that guys will look to maybe some of these bench guys. Again, they have newly acquired Moses Brown at 5.6K. He was decent for the Thunder last year. A guy like Jalen Brunson, solid when given minutes. So I think those two guys are a little bit interesting. yeah, don't know if I have a ton. There's not a ton I love for Dallas either. So let's move on to Denver. All right, so Denver last preseason game starters played low 20s minutes. Jokic was out, but he's expected to be back in this one. Jamal Murray's still out. So start at the top at Nikola Jokic at 9.4. If he's going to play, 20 to 25 minutes, I do think he's a pretty solid spend up. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on that. We should get news before lock on starters in the minutes. MPJ played really well in limited action last game. He's probable. Both Jokic most likely back. He's going to take a little bit of back seat. So probably would prefer spending up for Jokic as opposed to Michael Porter Jr. And there's an interesting place here for guard. So again, Jamal Murray out, Will Barton out. So we have guys like Monte Morris, PJ Dozier, and rookie Bones Highland at 4.3. All got some decent runs. So taking a look at their minutes. Monte Morris played 22, PJ Dozier 22, and Bones Highland played 24. He was solid in the Summer League. Bones went for 19, 4 and 2. Monte Morris didn't shoot the ball well, and Dozier was solid in his action too. So I think those three guards all firmly in play with Murray and Barton out on a slate that doesn't have a ton of great value plays. I think we can definitely look to some of those Denver guards for value. All right, Golden State. So Golden State, first preseason game, really spread out the minutes. A couple guys pushed for 20. Poole went off in 22 minutes. A guy I'm very high in this year. 30 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Steph Curry had a bad shooting game, went for 13, 5 and 5. And JTA played 22 minutes too. Would guess that the minutes go up a little bit for some of these starters. So Steph Curry, 9.3. Like him decent amount as his spend up. It's just he can put up like a massive amount of fantasy points in a short amount of time. So anytime Steph Curry is on a preseason slate, I'm going to have interest if he's playing. So, yeah, like Steph. Wiggins, Draymond, I'm going to pass on their respective prices. Again, Jordan Poole was great. Now, ownership is probably going to be inflated on him. He did shoot really, really well. So, I'm fine with him. But, again, he might be a little bit over-owned. Other options like JTA is fine at that price. I don't love it. Bielitsa had a decent game at 5.8K. But I think that's really it. So let's finish it up with the Kings and the Clippers. All right, Kings, historically, they run their starters a decent amount in the preseason, and we got some solid minutes in the first game. A lot of the main guys, 23, 24 minutes, which is good. That's pretty solid, again, for the preseason. So taking a look at players and their prices, Fox had an awful shooting game. I think he shot 3 of 13, 3 of 14. Probably going to lower the ownership. His price did come up, but I still think he's a pretty safe play. Again, Kings are going to push the pace. As far as Rashawn Holmes go at 8.4K, he's a good point per minute guy, but that just feels a little bit too pricey. I would much prefer going to a guy like Marvin Bagley at 4.9K. You can even, here, let's go back to the Kings. Alex Len, Tristan Thompson got a little bit of minutes too. They said they're going to mess with their rotations, but some of these backup bigs, again, Bagley, if he starts, I think he would be viable. I guess Tristan Thompson, Alex Len, a little bit too pricey at 6.7 and 6.5 respectively. So Bagley, I think looks like a pretty solid play at that price. And then I think the guards, Fox, Halliburton, not super interested in Buddy Hield. And then Davion Mitchell at 6.3, I think is decent as well. He's a great defender and probably gets low to mid-20s minutes. Okay, so finishing up with the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard obviously out, Serge Ibaka out, Preston out. Paul George looks like he'll be back. Minutes for the Clippers, they spread them out. Amir Coffey played 31 minutes. Mann played 30 minutes on the bench. Luke Kennard played 28 minutes on the bench. Winslow played 25 minutes on the bench. A couple of the bigs played about 15 minutes. Backup bigs and Giles and Hartenstein, both good point per minute guys. Both did good in their action. We know here Giles was a guy that won us a lot of money last preseason. So I'll start with Paul George at 9.1. I'm just going to wait on news. Again, he rested last game. We'll see. Obviously, with Kawhi Leonard out, he's going to be the clear go-to guy in this team. So if we get news they're going to play about 25 minutes, I do think he's going to be one of the better spend-ups on the slate. The other Clippers, they spread out the minutes. Reggie barely played. Mann got a ton of minutes. I think I would probably lean towards more of the younger guys on the bench, like a Mann, like a Kennard, based on minutes from last game. And then some of these backup bigs, guys like Hartenstein, Giles, I think firmly in play. Not going to get a ton of minutes, but probably going to be productive when they're out there. So, guys like Reggie, Zubac, I think I only look to if we get confirmation that they're going to play more, right? Because they just didn't get a ton of run. Reggie, 7 minutes. Zubac, only 11. But yeah, guys, that is going to do it for the video today. So if you have been enjoying the content so far, I would really appreciate if you could hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell so you don't upload videos and go live. Let's hope there's no more cancellations. Let's pray for no more foul trouble, no injuries. That would be super nice. Thanks again, guys, and I will see you all in the next video.